Mama's been hurting, 'cause Daddy's been down. Ain't nobody been working since the mill left town. They got two youngins not 10 years old, with $200 left in his billfold. And a week's worth of groceries is the price of gold when your whole damn country's been bought and sold. Never there's been hard times, it's always made hard folks who could get her to the other side and not let it be all she wrote. I'd love to live to be an old man, but God, you can take me a young one. Just don't let the land I love die so young. Of thee I sing, I've been flying low in my troubled mind. Get to digging me a hole my soul can't climb. It's the end of the world, nobody knows, 'cause they all just stare at the trash on their phones in a land that's littered with many men's bones who died fighting for somewhere they could call home. Whenever there's been hard times, it's always made hard folks who could get her to the other side and not let it be all she wrote. I'd love to live to be an old man, but God, you can take me a young one. Just don't let the land I love die so young. Of thee I sing,
birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
And here we go.
Welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
What is going on, Hive? I hope everybody's having a great Friday Eve. Today's Thursday, October 30th, 2025. I'm your host, Birdie, and welcome to the Hive Mind. If this is your first time tuning in, this is a contrarian thinking live stream. So what does that mean? Well, if you're somebody who gets easily offended or rattled when somebody thinks past the headlines, maybe says something that you just haven't looked into, but because it goes against what you've heard on the news, if you get mad and you shame those people, you're going to hate me. You're probably going to not like this chat. However, if you're the tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist in your friend group or your family, you have found your people, and welcome. Thank you so much for being here this evening. I have an interesting stream lined up for everybody, and I'm not really sure the direction that it's going to go. I think that people are going to take it one of two ways. It's not anything that's terribly controversial. I mean, for God's sakes, we're already talking about the most controversial case in America, in the world, right? It's just ridiculous how you can't ask questions. You can't try to wake others up without being attacked, whether it's, whether they disagree with your opinion or maybe they'll even come at you personally. It's wild, isn't it? When they have the freedom themselves, these people who want to say, oh, you guys are so stupid or whatever it is, and I'm not even referring to a specific comment. It's like, then why don't you get a mic? Why don't you put together a presentation? Why don't you do your own thing? Well, that's stupid. Why would I do that? Well, then why are you watching this? Why are you watching other people? There's a difference between people who tune in to be informed and then people that tune in to hate or to judge. And obviously, we can't change anything about it. It's just that we have to outnumber those people with our will to continue to talk about it. Like I've said in the past, this system is built on exhaustion. So many facets of society, they move slow at a turtle's pace, and they rely on this exhaustion. They rely on you forgetting about it. They rely on life getting in the way of it. You got so many things running through your head every day: work, kids, bills, food, groceries, whatever it is. And then you forget about these things that the system has slowed down. Okay. Last night's stream with the custody queens, shout out again to Kristen and Sam. They were absolutely unbelievable. And their position in how wrongful convictions, and pretty much outside of the right to a speedy trial, everything else is extremely slow in the court proceedings. And I have this thumbnail titled Pure Evil because that term, and this is what I was saying, could be taken a couple different ways. That term, it's either pure evil, what they're doing to Brian Koberger, or as messed up as this sounds, it's this, the fact that the system allows them to do this, if it's some giant operation, is also in a way evil. It relies on manipulation and lies and false information and shutting people up, threatening people, right? I hope that makes sense. We're going to continue to dive into that throughout this stream. I have some pretty incredible stuff that Cat's Mojo had sent me that I want to make sure I get in front of you all so you guys can dig into it more. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say what's up to everybody. And yeah, I see somebody said, what happened to Outcast? Well, Outcast and I have been trying to do a live. I've heard something happened with his live. I don't know if he got shut down. I haven't talked to him since. We emailed back and forth a couple times. I'd popped into his live for like 20 minutes a night or two. But yeah, I don't know if Outcast is going to see this, but I hope his channel didn't get banned. What's up, Mary? LA Mike, Crowned, Gang Gang, Nene, Fiji, Cat's Mojo, Jenny LaRusso, Luna Bliss, UFO Dog, Discord Dawn, all three of you guys right in a row. Boom. Amanda B, that's right. We are the Truth Seekers. What's up, Suze? Sleeping Duck 2025. Genuinely Confused, Philly Special, Elizabeth, Tarnished Pearl, Shelly Klein, Robin Lynn. See Mary's in here. Jesse's Girl, Mitty Witty, Unicorn of Hope. Steph, what's going on? I like that font. What's popping with the Master of the Beehive? I've missed you. Glad to be back. We are glad you are back. Kathy NC says, that all tells me they have done something wrong to cover. I can't listen to the media anymore. You and me both. What's up, UK Kaylee? I like that username. Growth Renewal, formerly known as Beck. Chickadee, Dina. Wild West says, it is the first responsibility of every citizen to question authority. Benjamin Franklin. Do you guys think Ben Franklin actually flew a key on the end of a kite? Is that a real story? Doesn't that kind of seem like a little bit like propaganda if you think about like the old world and all that stuff? Isaac Newton had an apple fall on his tree or fall on his head from a tree. I mean, Think about the stuff they teach us as little kids that we just continue to repeat as adults. It's remarkable. Some things they tell you the truth on, right? With the holidays. And if there's, certain, I don't know if any kids are listening, but if there's certain, mysterious characters that show up on certain holidays, right? You believe that. But as an adult, you're like, Yet we still have people believing the mainstream media, which might as well be considered the exact same thing. Wild West said, only Birdie would conspiracy theory over old Ben Franklin. That's awesome. Maybe he was high. Ricky, I was high when I said that. I bet they were all fables. Marketing genius. Vampires are real. Why don't we throw out some other outlandish conspiracies? Unicorn of Hope says Santa's real. I've been wanting to do a show, Real Terry Weed, on Tartaria for some time now. I need to just do it. What's up, Trisha? Great to see you as well. I hope you have a fabulous day. And Honest Abe in Washington and the Cherry Tree, all questionable. Dragons are real. UFO Dog is not real. I am a walking encyclopedia, says Aussie McLeod. You know what's funny is I'm sure I guarantee that there's people in the hive like this, but there's things that I remember that I don't know the last time that I've even thought of. I don't know when I heard it. I don't know how I know it, but somebody will bring something up and yeah, it'll send my brain down this path of like, oh, well, that, X, Y, and Z happened because of A, B, and C and all that shit. I hope that makes sense to you all, because I do feel like sometimes I don't even know how I knew that. LA Mike Life says, isn't it crazy how history keeps repeating itself? Human nature hasn't changed. We still go for the cheese. Yes, we do. A couple people want the Tartarian Empire. Blame it on my ADD, baby. Painted dessert, 77. You might as well throw that other S in there at this point, because I'm not calling it painted desert. Thank you, Ariana. I absolutely go look up how many dinosaur bones in the Smithsonian are real. Actually, I'll do that for you. What percent of dinosaur bones in the Smithsonian are real? Charlie Kirk's alive. Well, of course, ChatGPT. I was talking to one of our mods, Robin, about this. Tell me that ChatGPT is not getting stupider. Tell me with every update, it's starting to talk back to you. It's starting to tell you what it can and can't do. Everything that you ask it, it's like over the top guarded. And it's like, hold on. I'm asking you a question that I know is on the internet. Just tell me. Christ, it just makes me so angry. It's totally getting stupider, yes. That's what he says. What's up, Mandy Lynn Sue? Good to see you. Because OpenAI is censoring all models. Yeah, but hey, they're going to have erotica available in December. So there's that. We'll just have sex robots now. We can't get a simple answer of like, hey, how many dinosaur bones are in the Smithsonian? No. Here's Rebecca, your 53rd AI girlfriend of this quarter. Just ridiculous. ChatGPT, Rocket Lily says, told you to get a refund. That's savage. I'm not sold on dinosaurs, everybody. I mean, think about what they try to get us to believe in, like fossil fuels. It's just remarkable. It absolutely is remarkable. All right. So before we get into it, For the love of God, so that I don't have to continue to say this, we have 500 people in here and we have only 170 likes. Just press the damn like button. That's all that I'm asking you. You know, we have 3 people every live. I'll go back 90 days. 3 people have disliked every live. Okay, so I'm already counting on those 3. And those 3 are probably in here. Or they just open up my page and they just go press it every time. But if you just could take 2 seconds, hit the subscribe, hit like. I don't charge for anything. It's a simple thing to do. It costs you nothing. And I hate asking for it, so don't make me do it more than once, but I just want to make sure that everybody does have a second here to swipe down on the chat and press it. I'm not going to stop doing that because I will say it is kind of shocking to me. You know, we have so many people tune in. The like doesn't cost anything. It only helps the hive. It only helps what everybody in here is tuning in for, which is to spread the word. It'll help us get more awesome guests, you know, and it'll get it to more eyes. And we all want that. Plus, this is free. So it's not like I'm getting some crazy monetary benefit from it. I know you all know that, but please hit the subscribe, the like, and then on TikTok, Discord, Facebook, Instagram, I have all of those. Birdie Hive Mind, those links are all in my YouTube channel bio. So if you guys, next time you open up those apps, if you give a follow or a like on those, that'd be also very, very much appreciated. Yeah. Shoe Girl's like, just pause the stream until everyone hits the like. I don't want to get crazy about it. Yeah. But it is crazy how much that does help, especially in the beginning of the live. The first, hour really makes a difference with people hitting it. So thank you to those that did. And Best of Me says, no, we like to hear you beg. No, well, that's about as much begging as I'm going to do. But all right. So let's get into this whole pure evil theme. Okay. Guys, I don't know what's going on with the mainstream media. This, and that sounds rather obvious, like, duh, Birdie, they're lying. Well, they are. But at what point do these people have to understand that they're also taking a huge risk professionally for their career if and when this story explodes in the worst way possible? Lawsuits, potentially, maybe. They lose their job. They go and try to work for another news station and cover another story. You guys know the names of the people that I'm talking about. You got Ashley Banfield, Nancy Grace, Brian, and all this stuff. It's not that, like, you could be a reporter. You can have a good camera presence. You can know how to read a teleprompter and run a good show. You're talented in all those. How do these networks not understand what they are doing is so obviously pushing a false story? And it makes no sense if it's just because they deem Brian Koberger weird. Okay? We are watching in real time this man's soul get deleted. Look at him throughout these hearings. Look, he doesn't say anything. Losing weight. Now you could say, oh, he's got a haircut and he's tan. Okay. That's not false by any means. But I cannot wrap my head around why the mainstream media has zeroed in on a guy who pled guilty. He's going away for 4 consecutive life sentences. He missed his window for a plea deal. Why are they still hammering anything about Brian Koberger home? You can't tell me that this is getting them. So, like Holly Smokey, thank you for the comment, says, all they care about is money, so they will push whatever they're told. I agree. To an extent, because maybe if it's somebody's salary, they want to keep their job. I totally understand that. But I'm talking about the bigger picture of, like, why is this story relevant for people at News Nation, for people at Law and Crime, for people at all these places? It's like their budgets, what they could be putting their resources towards. This narrative, even for them, has to be dull and boring at this point. you're telling me that you're going to spend and take up your primetime media hours releasing pictures of Brian Koberger, selfies. Make it make sense. But does that sell? Really? I mean, I don't disagree. I don't disagree, Brenda, that they'll do anything that sells. But I'm like, does that? Mary Holt says, I don't know. It doesn't make no sense. Why don't they just close the door and never mention it? That's what I mean. They're stoking everything that they're complaining about that's continuing on the internet with this case. These conspiracy theorists, the people not letting the families grieve. Every time that they show that, there's one normie, I hope, maybe a half of a normie, that's going to go, why am I continuing to see all this? This doesn't matter, right? And then they're going to end up finding the hive, and then they're turned against the system forever. Genuinely confused says, imagine if Will, who you talked to, thought he was guilty. He'd be all over the nose. He just put out a video today. Yeah, I had a chance to watch that video at the gym. Discord Dawn had sent me it, and Will had actually texted me. He'll kind of sporadically talk to me. I want to say, like, to Will, he had said, Birdie's the only creator that I watch anymore. And I appreciate that, dude. And if you're watching this, like, thank you for, the little shout out. But I think what Will has the ability to do, if you've watched Will's video, Will has the ability to communicate through the screen. Genuinely, he does not give a damn if you don't like what he says. It is a skill that a lot of people don't have. Right? And I think one of the things that Will has been really consistent on since we've talked with that latest video he put out, and even the videos where he was like, what the drunk parrot, the roast video that he pretty much just went off. He had a creator list or some like piece of paper with all these people written on it. And one of the things he stayed super consistent on is just like, at one point in his life, he knew Brian. That Brian was soft. He was weak, and he was like, I'm not even trying to hate on him and be mean. But he's like, there's just no way he could do it. Are we to take that as nothing? You have a guy who has an extremely successful business. He's an ex-Marine. He's kicked an addiction. He's spoken his mind. And he's saying that, and he was successful at motocross racing growing up. It seems like he's got kind of a track record of being disciplined, staying motivated, whether or not everybody loves kind of the rugged communication of it. It is what it is, right? So outside of him, who else has really came to his defense? And it's interesting how people want to look at that with such a magnifying glass, break down every little thing, rather than just taking maybe bits and pieces of what he's saying and applying it to stuff we've looked into. Yeah, and Will's always been super nice to me. I mean, we've had some great conversations. Well, yeah, and just to clarify, Will has a knife business, by the way. Custom knives, and I think he's a pretty, I don't know his exact title of what he does, but I know like throwing knives, like competitions, I'm pretty sure like he's been very successful at that. Anyways, long story short, I did see that video. And this case is just, it's driving everybody crazy. It's doing some good. It's doing some good because we're able to expose corruption, which is what the next slide that I have. I'm going to dive into that. But it's also a little bit terrifying how long this is taking. I mean, guys, as awesome as it is that Kristen and Sam came into the Hive last night, the custody queens, and they were like, yeah, shout out to you guys, the comments, Birdie, like you guys woke two people up that are practicing attorneys and changed the way of thinking. Like, that's awesome. I never want to stop doing that, no matter what we're talking about. it's surprising how this is taking so long. And LA Mike life, that's what people hate when I say this, because I understand there's a lot of other theories out there that have some grounds to it, some potential. As you guys know, I've done all those, or I've looked into them all with you. And LA Mike says, I used to think BK was involved. Now I'm thinking he's just getting screwed. I'm assuming you were talking about involved in the crime in some way, shape, or another. We could say it we could have differing opinions on that till we're blue in the face. Involved, not involved, whatever it is. I'm telling you, behind these prison doors and in that courtroom, after hearing Sam say, we're only seeing 5 to 10% of the dance. It's a show in the courtroom. And they're saying that about custody cases that don't have national security and thousands of documents redacted. What's up, Christina? Dina says, I have a really hard time when people call Brian a monster, and the people that have been sending him money are monsters, so I'm very picky at what I watch. Well, Shelly says, because if we concentrate on the case, we won't see how bad we are getting screwed in America. Well, I think I don't know. I don't know how many people are really that vested in this case. You know, not enough. Hemisphere says, this done got to a point now that all I want to see is this go to the highest court in the land, and all who had their hands in this case get exposed for what they did. Amen to that. I know, Drew. I suck about that. I'm sorry, man. I've been busy. Got a pregnant wife. Got doctor's appointments. We're moving. So it's not personal. My bad. Fiji says the story kept people scared and under control. Think as a special experiment, the control the media had. Yeah. I've seen nothing that convinces me BK was involved. Nothing, says Juicebox. No, it's all good, man. I appreciate it. Stay on me. Don't feel bad about it. Nelson 8307. This started 28 minutes ago right now. Mary Casey says, this is so sad. I hate feeling helpless. I wish we could help Brian. Where are we at on Brian? So how does Brian know and write papers about exactly what happened to him, but then do nothing about it? That's confusing as well. Brian Koberger's papers get photos released of them that match up, talking about how people are overcharged and forced to do a plea deal. 90 to 95% of cases don't even go to trial, and they settle in a plea. Hence, false confessions, wrongful convictions. How does he write about all this? How does he understand this? How is it happening to him? And then how is he falling into the exact same trap and then not doing anything after the fact? Why are we acting as if that is not a huge red flag of there's no such thing as coincidence that big, along with all the other million things that have happened? OMFG XO Bree says, Birdie, short version. My mom's been in the METH ring for 30 plus years. I called her to ask about things in this case. Her info was eye-opening. Wow. What does that mean? I mean, just how the game works, or what? Big Amish Media says, is this a psyop to see whether people will fall in line with the narrative and ignore the the dilution of the constitutional rights afforded to BK and extrapolation to all of us. Slippery slope. Amen to that. SoCal Lolo 71 says, Birdie, do you think there's any truth to the theory of MM and KG being paraded around the neighborhood? Also, do you think the vids posted that look blurry and could possibly have a lot more people in them are real? I'll answer that by saying I personally, I don't think that the videos with all the extra people in them are real. The rumor of them being paraded around, I've seen those, right? Where people have said, like, if you look right here, this object and video manipulation and all that, it could be, it might line up with, it didn't happen in the house based on the crime scene photos and the autopsy. I don't know. I can't answer that. That's one of those things where it's like I can wrap my head around it and I can think about it, but I couldn't give it, like, if I had to vote on it, I wouldn't know, just because, again, it seems like it's one of those things where I see it, I take it in, and I'm kind of like, okay, that's really interesting. Is there is there anything else that could point to, okay, there would be a lot of people because of X, Y, and Z, so that video definitely was manipulated? I don't know. She knows nothing about the case. OMFG Bree says, so what she told me was crazy. I can imagine. Oh no, it's not that's fine. SoCal Lolo, no worries. That's not a, don't feel bad about it. I mean, I've seen that a lot. I've seen that rumor a lot. Jesse Martinez says, you don't understand, Birdie. It's not Koberger they are after. It's you. It's Lana, Jay and Bree, Jules with True Crime Reactions, the people that have open minds, people that question. Well, they're after all of us. That's a fact. Sherlock roams in the hizzy. What's up, man? So Molly Bledsoe asked, what did her mom say when it comes back to the METH ring? And OMFG Bree says, she gave me tons of info on CIs and how they go after people, etc. Perfect segue. I'm going to bring up, so Cat's Mojo was on fire in the Discord. I want to talk about this comment here that was left on, it looks like it might have been a comment on under one of Pavarotti's video, but Cat's Mojo clipped it and sent it to me. And it says this: Captain D-Man says, hey, Pav, I've taken my part in many OCDETF task forces as local LE and federal LE. You are tracking correctly how confidential informants are worked. The quote unnamed CI will typically benefit from charges being dropped. However, this will put the CI in harm's way. Rarely do they receive LE protection unless it is part of making a larger case. The dirty little secret is the ugly side of narco cases. If the number of CI deaths was ever made public, it would shock the conscience of the courts, the people, and ultimately result in the confidential informant program being curtailed or shut down altogether. CIs are often seen as expendable due to their limited ability to testify in court, but ironically, CI are used to secure warrants with impunity. Magistrates seldom, if ever, vet the veracity of the CI. This case seems to be knee-deep in multiple agency failures. Bottom line, quote, every institution will seek to protect itself. Boom. I mean, that is Captain D, man, gets the top dog. That's a hell of a comment. It's just, I'd be curious, like, what that number would be of CIs that have been killed after the fact. I agree, Brandon. Let's put the Hive on the map. Let's get it. Let's get it. Please hit that like button if you're just coming in. Yeah, the usernames getting changed are still tripping me up. I have to just go off of like remembering people's profile pictures. So now here's another thing that Cat's Mojo had said. She found what one of the Moscow officers had told the Daily Mail, which was, quote, "We have investigators who have been on the job for 20, even 30 years, and they say they have never seen anything like this. Blood was everywhere." Can somebody tell me which officer said this? And thank you, Drew Bledsoe, for the super chat. You rock. Love the hashtag tip your host. Just as a reminder, too, any super chat or tips, if the mods drop the tip link, or if you guys do super chat, any of those over $4.99, they pop up on screen right here, and I will immediately answer it. You guys' picks are hijacked now. What does that mean? Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if there's a, Cat's Mojo. I don't know if you're in here right now, but I don't know if they give it. And it's always like this anonymous source. A Moscow officer told Daily Mail that we have investigators who have been on the job for 20, even 30 years, and they say they have never seen anything like this. Blood was everywhere. Who are the investigators that are saying that? Who's the guy that told Daily Mail that? It sounds petty to go back and say that, but you have to understand, why cite that anonymously? If there's no citing of this quote, that is the entirety of the point I'm making, is like, there's this ghost, there's this phantom witness to every big story to push a narrative. It's anonymous. We don't get to question who it is. We just take that at face value. And the news, they know that by saying Moscow officer told Daily Mail, that's credible. And the other part that's really weird, 20, even 30 years, they've never seen anything like this. Blood was everywhere. That is, it's hard to believe. Okay, it's hard to believe. It's not rude. It's not being insensitive. It's just hard to believe. If blood was everywhere, you're not calling somebody, bringing up an unconscious person, and not talking about any of the other roommates on the 911 call. You're not calling 8 hours later. There are so many quotes that have been used that are phantom quotes like this for all stories. And we just all just, oh man, they said it was, how much is this quote? You guys answer this for me. How many times has this quote been repeated? This is like a cornerstone quote to the Idaho 4. They've never seen anything like this. Blood was everywhere. You know? We need to have, like, man, it's so tough because like whistleblowing and stuff like that, like they have like, I understand releasing stuff anonymously, but I feel like something like this, if it's like a public source and you're not whistleblowing, you should quote it, or you should cite it. Detective Mallory's going to the Sizzler tomorrow for a fancy dinner. My mom wants to know if I'd like to join. Nah. I'm going to pass on that one, Detective Mallory. Make sure you open her car door, though. And she said last time, you know what? I'm not even going to say it. I just almost set myself up to give you so much ammo, and I'm really glad that I just bit my tongue. Yeah, it's Zero Bloodgate. Here's another video that Cat's Mojo sent me. I'm going to let this play. I haven't seen this yet. So this is posted by the university. It's the favorite things on campus. And let's see what was all said.
It's a smaller town and you can drive 10 minutes in any direction and you're kind of in the countryside, and I like that aspect because I've never experienced that before.
And you can get into mountains, you can get into rivers and go fishing, and it provides the best of both worlds.
There's just the right amount of things to distract you from school, but then just the right amount of things to keep you focused on school. If it's the farmer's market on Saturday mornings or just going over to the ice rink.
My favorite thing about the city of Moscow is in the evening, there are lights twinkling in the streets, and there's also a business called the Grub Truck which sells mac and cheese, and so at night I'll walk with my friends through the city of Moscow.
I have a really strong sense of security here, and I actually feel safer here in Moscow than I do at home.
I love so
What did that man just say?
And so at night I'll walk with my friends through the city of Moscow.
I have a really strong sense of security here, and I actually feel safer here in Moscow than I do at home. I have a really strong sense of security here, and I actually feel safer here in Moscow than I do at home. Really strong sense of security here, and I actually feel safer here in Moscow than I do at home.
I love so many things about Moscow. It has the best community. I go to one of my favorite coffee shops, which is One World. And when I'm there, you feel like a part of the Moscow community. But then when you're on campus, whether you're at a football game.
Hang on. French, Top Talk goes, this is a hard sell. I agree. Hard sell for sure. They have lights and mac and cheese.
Game or a basketball game, you feel like a student. So you kind of get both sides of the community.
And that video was posted 3 years ago. Cats Mojo, thank you for sending all that. I appreciate that. Oh, man. I feel safer here than I do at home. Yeah, they got free scholarships. Of course, like, you know, none of like the tidy females in that video, none of them are saying like, I just, you know, the campus is really well lit to the point where I can go to one of my late night food spots, the Grub Truck, that has delicious mac and cheese. No, it's like the guy who's 6'4" and probably clearly capable of defending himself. He's the one that feels safer. Man. They just kind of slipped that in there, huh? Someone says he must live in Compton. Christ. Wait, this was what? So is the exact date on there? January 3rd of 2020. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, wait. January 3rd, 2022. My bad. My bad. I was thinking this is right after. My fault. Yeah, no, 2022. My bad. Yeah, you guys just saw what exactly just happened in my head. I saw that, and I was like, there's no way this was in January right after. That's my bad. That was going into that year. My fault. Crime Will Tell says, sadly, my grandson wants to go to Moscow for college. He lives in Boise now. Crime Will Tell, here's what we have to do. We have to take advantage of this opportunity. We're going to have him take all of his credits spread out. He's going to do 5.5, 6 years there strategically. He's going to embed himself deep within administration. He's going to do he's going to work as an intern for the MPD. He's going to become a spy for the Hive, essentially. We're going to start grooming him with awesome spy gear. We're going to teach him how to use drones. Maybe he can go and get us like a sonar detector for the house. We can see if there's any tunnels underneath it. He can start to wear a wire for us. I think that could be an opportunity that we can't let go. You know what I mean? We might have to capitalize on that. We do need some plants. Pandora Amelia says, good night. Sonar, yes. Nana Cal says, I still wouldn't say it was a safe place. It seems pretty sketchy to me. Criveltel says he'd be so into that. Good. Hopefully your grandson's a little bit awkward. Doesn't really talk to many people. Actually, don't have that happen. Because if he ends up getting the internship or he gets in tight with them, they're going to frame his ass. That's exactly what I was just going to say. I could not be held liable for anything that I just said. I reserve that right. Mary Holt, I would have shit a chicken if somebody on that video would have said, our DoorDash drivers are so friendly. There's this woman named Molly. She'll get you whatever you need, whenever you need it. Doesn't matter if it's pretty much 4 a.m., she'll be there. Yeah, hopefully he's a conspiracy theorist, the grandson. Astrid's Hammer says, Crime Circus proved the tunnels under the house to the university, etc. Yeah, we watched a video as well. It wasn't Crime Circuses, but there are tunnels there. You can absolutely get from building to building by weaving your way through the tunnels. We watched somebody go from a certain administration building all the way to their dorm room. Nobody wants Maui at 4 a.m. Detective Mowry might. Yeah, Sleuthered Air says, but don't ask her anything about the murder. She doesn't know anything. Moscow at PD confiscated my White Claw. I'm not sure whatever happened to that dude, Crime Circus. I don't know. Discord Dawn says Molly's dedicated. She will get out and walk with her flashlight to get you your order. Absolutely. Sherlock says, I'm getting bombarded with DoorDash ads ever since my Gordash video. That was a good video. Oh, he posted yesterday? Nice. Juicebox, thank you so much for the super sticker. Appreciate you. All right, Hive. Let's get some good questions coming in here. It could be about anything. I wanted tonight to be so real quick as we're getting some questions up on screen. Tomorrow night, have you guys been liking the Friday night 9 p.m. streams? Personally, it works much better for like my schedule. I can get everything done before I stream and then kind of have, no time that I have to, get done because I have to do other stuff after. So I will plan on doing 9 p.m. again tomorrow, as well as the morning stream. Which is every Friday. Let's do 8:30 a.m. tomorrow for the Sting. Okay. 8:30 a.m. tomorrow for the Sting. I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to stream this second hour over on X here as well. Hopefully that'll get that out there. To everybody that's just tuning in, welcome. Core has asked a great question, one that we still don't have the answer to, which is, will we ever learn who Dylan added as a contact at 3:51, the same time that Molly was in the middle of the street shining her flashlight? Literally the same time. What are the odds? Do you guys think that it was Molly who she added as a contact? Does that make sense if it was Molly? Right? I mean, Molly's there. Why would you save a DoorDash's contact info? Because DoorDash, if you use the app to communicate with people, you do it through the app. Christina says, does anyone still think that Dylan drove to beg Kaylee to come that weekend? Sherlock says 2:45 a.m. true time, 3:51 false time, in my opinion. Red Riding Hood 7216 said we were talking about Williams' video, and Red Riding Hood asked, "Hey, Birdie in chat, what did you think of Williams' new video wearing the Grim Reaper style hood and sharpening big ass knives or bladed tools?" Well, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, damn, that shit does kind of look like the hoodie that Koberger was wearing, and just the fact that he's sharpening knives is wild. But I don't know. I think I just feel like it fits Will really, really well. I think everybody kind of saw that, was like, oh man. Yeah, maybe Will does. I could see that being, a dark sense of humor. Absolutely. Smick 44, good to see you. Dot was saying something about Dylan getting told what to say, but they cut her off before she could explain more. Man, where are we at on Dot? Has anybody figured out anything about that? Are we ever going to get an answer to who the several males were who bled all up inside the ass of the crime scene, or why that never came up in the 900 plus days of court hearings? Yeah. You believe Dot. Dot then admitted to lying about it all on video. Shoe Girl says, I think she's real. Sleuther Dare says, I think she's a leak. Dot is a bona fide liar. Is Dot fake? I don't know, Brandon. I don't know, man. I've seen that too. KBass1 says, I was on the TikTok live Dot had when she fell asleep and showed her face. Amanda says Dot and Molly were distractions. I feel like everybody has shown Dot's video. We have it in the Hive. I feel like Dot came roaring back. I didn't show that video. I mean, to be honest, I've only really listened to it once or twice. I haven't listened to it in a very, very long time. I'm not sure if that would be something you guys would want to look into right now. Most people have heard what Dot has said. There are some oddities when it comes to how would they know that, right? People are saying she inserted herself in other cases too. Is her story that different though than what happened? I do think it's kind of weird. Oh, there's a lot of people that don't know who Dot is. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, let's go. TD Thompson, welcome to the Hive. Thank you for subscribing. I guess I'll go ahead and show Dot. All right. Was it True Crime Design that had it? Hive? Oh, people are confusing Dot and WSU Kim.
I don't know if people are aware of the fact that there were at least two of the people. They were mutilated. I don't know what I can say. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but I can say that they were. It was not like somebody had a butcher knife or anything like that. Like the wounds were equivalent to something that was much like huge gaping wounds. Not like
maybe like a machete.
Like I'm talking like if you think about being a hunter and if you think about a deer and all that, if you can go through that process in your head, like it was to that equivalent, if not worse. Like
Okay.
So it's not just like a stabbing situation. It was really like something very sinister.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
Well, I know from Dylan. I know from Dylan.
So
He told me from what Hunter knew. From what Hunter knew. What really triggered me to want to reach out is that there's all this stuff that was coming up about the Lynn Lane footage and if it was real or not real. And I know I know from what I seen personally that it is real. And there's so much misinformation and it's scary. It's really scary because
that is scary.
it is very scary because what I seen,
scary.
yeah,
Yeah.
what I've seen, that footage is real. The audio, I can't say everything, because I don't know everything, but I can say from what I've seen, the footage is real and it's getting to a point where people are lying back and forth. And I thought maybe that I could, by speaking, that I maybe could give some validity to something. And I guess I didn't think that people maybe not believe me or I got there before 10 o'clock and I hung out there. We were playing beer pong, we were playing games. We left at like,
Dude, I just thought of this. I hope that I don't get a copyright thing for the background music if True Crime Design used that song. Damn. Just to be safe, what's another person that has it? Was it Docket Decoder, people said? Sorry. I just don't want to. Does anybody know where else it could be? And True Crime Design, if you're watching this, give me access to the video. Or if there's a copyright claim that's not the music and it's just yours, I'm sorry. Oh, they're showing True Crime Design's video on that too. Damn. Outcast has a new one. I don't see it. No, I'm gonna play it too. I don't see the dot video that Outcast had if it's new. You know what? All right. Yes. Okay, guys, look at me. I understand. I am not debating if this is real or fake. I just want to hear what she said. I want to hear what Dot said. I haven't listened to it in a while, and I'm just saying, like, we could debate if it's real or fake. I mean, shit, people came at Will and said Will was fake too, right? I understand that people could, because the same person that's saying Dot is 100% fake also told me Will is 100% fake because he did motocross racing. Okay, so that's not trying to knock anybody. I'm just saying let's keep everything in mind here, right? I mean, how would anybody for sure know? Okay, so I just want to hear what they said. So I'm going to pull up docket decoders to see if that's any better.
Say, I don't.
Details from Hunter, who we know
you during an 8-hour gap.
Times there was there other people, and I was at an apartment party that night, very close by, you know, and there's things that I heard and observed, and I went to the police and tried to tell them that, me and several other people, and they weren't very interested, you know. And I'm just trying to tell my part because it's really traumatizing to experience what I experienced with what happened, you know, and everything that I know. It's very hard to feel that every day.
Sure. Absolutely.
All right, here's what I'm going to say about this whole Dot thing. Okay, guys, I get it. People got strong opinions, fake, real, whatever it is. I haven't even given it that much time outside of, or since I've been at least over on YouTube. From TikTok, we looked into it. People had said, don't, no, dot, turn it off, blah, 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 blah. And I did turn it off. I listened to it on my own off stream. Didn't ever listen to it. So while others may have looked into it, I've not. The Hive hasn't, or maybe there's some in here that haven't. And like I said, you know, real, fake, whatever it is, I think we can at least listen to it. We've looked at a lot of shit that we don't know, right? Why is this any different? So that's my take on it.
Absolutely. What if I can ask? Yeah, right. If I can ask, what agencies did you go to?
I just went to local law enforcement. Like, I didn't push anything really, because once I went to them, they kind of made it seem like they kind of knew, they had figured out what they were doing. Yeah, they made it.
They had their narrative.
Yeah, they were they were not listening at all, but they were kind of reluctant to like really be interested in it. So I felt like, okay, well, I feel like an idiot. I'm coming with this, and like what I have to say is not important. So I never pursued it after that, and neither did anybody that I knew, you know, that my friends were at the party. We never like try to pursue it, but it's like I hear and see all these things, and it's really hard. What I have told a few people, like literally 2 people, I've told this story before a couple weeks ago, and it was that when I woke up in the morning, I woke up around maybe about 8:15, the latest maybe 8:30, and I smoke cigarettes. So I went outside to the balcony to smoke a cigarette because we don't smoke in the apartment. And I seen 5 people outside in the backyard area of the house.
Can you describe? Okay, I've heard that part of that story.
Yes.
Can you? And I know you're not going to say if you know who they are or any of that, but can you describe what male, female, black, white, Asian, any of that kind of thing?
Yeah, so there was 3 males and 2 females. One of the males was like very pale and had light colored hair. There was a
So, okay, I've seen this come through a couple of times now. Sorted Out Sleuthing has and Sorted Out Sleuthing is not the only comment I've seen about this. So Dot admitted it herself that she made it all up. That's the only reason I believe it to be fake. Okay, Hive. I hope that you know, it's not coming at anybody specifically. So how weird is it that probably before she came out and said this is all fake, people were already saying that it was fake. And now isn't it funny how people don't want to believe her, but then they'll believe her that it's fake? I hope that makes sense. It's like, who's to say that she didn't, out of fear, come out and say that it was fake? Who's to say that? I don't know. That's all I'm saying. Is it's like, can you have both? Right? It's kind of one of those things. Like, okay, she admitted it herself. Yeah, she's fake. Brian Koberger just confessed that he did 4 murders. Everybody. So, that's. I'm not trying to go at anybody. I'm just saying, like, let's just listen to it. Let's see what's up.
There was a black male. There was another guy that I had never really even seen before that was kind of just like had his hoodie up. I believe I seen Dylan out there.
What color was the hoodie?
What color was the hoodie? Yeah.
I want to say like navy blue, like maybe like probably a dark blue.
How many feet approximately do you think you were away from the group?
I want to say probably less than 35 feet.
Less than 35 feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty close, actually. 35 feet. That's pretty close.
The apartments that I was at, there was a balcony, and if you go to the right of the balcony, the house is literally like next to my shoulder on the right hand side. So it's like
there's the apartment.
Oh, that house.
It's literally there, and we had a lot of people there.
Okay.
Yeah, we were partying just like an average night. We had a lot of people in the apartment. We partied all the time.
Thank you, Amanda. We absolutely do. We absolutely need to revisit those. That's why I kind of like these streams where I come in with just kind of a general theme and we let the conversation steer where we go. The other thing too, and I'll stop pausing it after this. I'll sit on my hands. I just want to say, maybe it's delusional confidence, maybe whatever you guys want to say, just delusion. There's always a part of me that, like, I want to hear for myself. Maybe I pick up on something that nobody else has. Maybe somebody in here does, right? I mean, that's why we have the chat going. That's why I'm putting it all up. So if you heard this or if you haven't heard it, maybe try to just like picture this the first time hearing it, right? And for some, that might be easier to do than others if you've heard it a bunch of times. But there's obviously a lot of people in here that don't.
There was always ruckus that was going on through the neighborhood. For the most part, I never really seen or heard anything that was really strange up until like about 3 a.m. But in the morning, I remember seeing Dylan because I know Dylan, she's taller, so I can kind of pick her out. And I know Emma was there and Emma's friend. And there was a guy that was also like I said, really pale. I wasn't sure who he was with light colored hair. And there was another guy that had a hoodie on that I couldn't identify. But they were all just literally passing a joint around because they would wake up and smoke. And they were just all smoking. Like, I would have never guessed anything happened at that house when I woke up that morning until I found out later. I didn't leave until like 1:30. But I would have never guessed that anything happened because they were just out smoking like normal. Like nothing had happened.
And this was at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah, about 8:30. I didn't leave till 1:30.
And so, who was the everybody?
Ashley.
She's using a voice changer, guy. People in chat, they're saying she sounds older. That's why. Anyway, you're saying that you saw a pale guy with light colored hair and a blue hoodie, Dylan, Emma, a black guy, and somebody else. You said.
Yeah, well, no, the light color, the guy that had like the really light skin that was pale. He didn't have the blue hoodie. That was separate. There was the other guy. The
Oh, I'm
guy,
sorry.
there was one guy that I don't know if it was blonde hair, very light colored skin and colored hair, like really pale. And then there was another guy that had like the navy blue, like darker hoodie, and kind of like from the angle that I was at, I couldn't really actually see his face to really
Okay.
know who he was.
Have you watched any of the Grub Track videos?
Did you see them in the
Right.
Grub Truck video?
Yeah, I've watched them. I followed like when all this stuff happened and the things transpired the way they did. You know, I followed a lot of the stuff, and it's been crazy. All the speculation, the things that some people say that people that I knew, and it's really hard when you hear and see these things, and these are people that you went to school with or you hung out with, or you went to a party with. It's hard to see this stuff. It really is.
Well,
Yeah, like a lot of people will say, well, like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Like, I was just a party goer. Like, at the end of the day, like, I was just somebody that was at a party, like, getting drunk, having a good time. Like, I was not somebody that was being aware and was, like, looking for anything or anything. Like, I was just a party goer, and it just happened to be at the time that these things happened, and so it's not, nothing was just like I was there and, zeroed in, but I did hear things and I did see things
But
in
the
the
fact
morning.
that there was 5 people in
Well,
the backyard is weird.
Yeah. Was the door open up there? Or was it
A
closed?
sliding glass
I
door.
can say the back door. I did not see the back door open when I seen them outside. Like when I seen them outside, they were just congregating. Like they would wake up in the morning. Like we're gonna smoke some. They always did that. A
By the
lot of
couch?
people did that
By the couch?
near the
By the
couch.
couch?
Yeah, like
That's-
the end part of the couch towards
Yeah.
the sliding door, like that end area. They had like a little table, like a kind of like a little table close to the like patio, and everybody would just smoke over there. It was just like a normal morning. There
Well,
wasn't
let me ask you something real quick if I can. I'm
You would
sorry.
see the door though.
Yeah, you should be able to see a slider. You said you know Dylan, right? You're friends with Dylan.
yeah, I would say I was friends with her.
Okay, you know who Quinn is, her boyfriend, right?
Yes.
Did you see him there?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Thank you. Just curious. So that's what. And you did say that there was Dylan, you thought Emma and one of their friends.
Yeah, I always knew I would kind of know Emma because of the fact that who she always hanged out with.
Yeah.
He was a black guy, and like they always were together wherever they went. So if
Who was
you
the other
if you
friend? Do
see
you know who she was?
you mean Emma's friend?
Yeah.
D. We call him D. We would buy things from him, so to speak. So that's kind of like how we ended up knowing him.
Does anybody have an idea? Did anybody figure out who that was ever? Because I mean, if Dot's fake, Dot is mentioning very real people, right?
It was pretty cold that morning. It was really normal.
Oh, that's so she was referring to Demetrius. I got you. Okay, my bad. I didn't put that 2 and 2 together. Yes, my bad.
Like to just go out on the balcony and smoke, and a lot of the times people would wake up and they would go outside and sit on the couches and smoke and stuff like that, and it wasn't like abnormal. So like there was nothing that really told me like in that morning, like nothing that really stood out that I'd be like, oh, there's something wrong. You know what I mean?
Okay. Did you see any specific vehicles in the air, like around the house in the parking lot that morning?
No, nothing that was out of like everything was kind of pretty normal from.
Can I ask it? So obviously yes, I'm aware that D now means Demetrius. For whatever reason, I didn't put two and two together right there. But real quick, does anybody know, is this when Emma and Demetrius were brought into kind of the spotlight? I mean, everybody remembers hearing about that. Their mugshots were kind of going around, or were they already in there, like in the media at this point?
What I normally seen, like there was a lot of vehicles that would come and go, but they were all for a lot of the parties. Like, there's the Linda Lane footage where you can hear somebody talking about Charlie, and that was like the neighbors of the party I was at, like the neighbors a couple of doors down, they were always fighting. So like,
no, I know they were in the media for Kid and Young. I'm saying, was this that kind of connected them to bring them into this particular crime, is what I'm asking.
You can hear that, and I can like verify that that was legit because they were always fighting boyfriend and girlfriend all the time.
Okay. So you were there all night, right? Like partying all night long?
Yeah, I got there before 10 o'clock, and I hung out there. We were playing beer pong. We were playing games. We left at like a little after 1:30 to go get more alcohol. And then we came back, and then I was there. I fell asleep maybe around 3:30, and then when I woke up it was like around 8 or 8:30 when I smoked a cigarette and seen my scene. But around 3 o'clock we had heard they were trying to find Murphy. They were trying to find the dog.
So you saw the ambulance show up?
I didn't see the ambulance until I went to leave. When I went to leave, it was about maybe one.
I mean, guys, that's kind of crazy. Didn't see the ambulance. Like, how would we know that until that body cam came out for the 911 call? She knew about Murphy. That's a little weird, right? Yeah. I mean, if she's lied, she's damn good at it. I don't know if back then we didn't know that, right?
30, and everything was blocked off. I couldn't even get to the right side of the area. I had to walk all the way down the road to get picked up. And
again, just the way she's describing that, like those little details right there. How would anybody know that without seeing the body cam footage of the 911 call, guys? She has it dialed. She had to walk to the end of the street and get picked up down there. They had it blocked off. There wasn't an ambulance right away. She didn't see it until later when she left. None of that came to light until recently. Same thing with the timeline for Murphy. It was rumored about Murphy being out of the patio or Murphy was wherever. Yeah, does anybody have the exact date of the interview? Thank you. If somebody's willing to go find that, I'll put it up on screen.
that's when I seen that everything was blocked off, and I didn't know what was going on. We were playing a game called Two Truths and a Lie, and we were playing beer pong too as well. And I had
There's also a beer pong table. I don't know.
friend that went on Instagram Live. It was like 22 minutes she was on, and like 18 of those minutes we were in the apartment, just like our music was blaring, like all that stuff. There was maybe like about 2 minutes when we were outside and we were recording it, and you can hear something. I don't know if it was something related. You can hear some stuff, but
who did you talk to when you went down to Moscow to give your report? Who'd you talk to? Do you remember?
I wasn't anybody specifically. I just went to the front desk.
They didn't introduce you, or they didn't introduce themselves, or there wasn't you went down to there? You didn't call, you went down physically.
Yeah, I went down physically.
So there wasn't a name tag on their desk. There wasn't You know what I mean?
Like when I went to the front, there, like I just went to the front and there was a clerk sitting there, and I explained like, hey, this is where I was, this is the address, this is what's going on. I explained about what I heard maybe at about 3:00 in the morning or whatever, and they said, okay, we will have a detective get in touch with you. They gave me a piece of paper, and it was like a blank piece of paper. I had to fill out my name, what I heard, what I seen. I slipped it under the glass, and they were like, okay, we'll have a detective contact you. Nobody ever contacted me. So I just figured they figured
Okay.
out what was going on, you know?
You didn't try and contact them after
I
they
didn't. No, I didn't.
Because
Have you
that's some
tried
pretty
to-
heavy shit. If
Yeah,
you can,
And guys, how much to Jenny's point, MPD will ignore or think about it. I mean, how many leads did they follow up? How many reports did we see like no further report, end of report? Is anybody surprised that they didn't follow up on this?
place somebody at the
Yeah.
scene of a crime in between when the crime took place and when 911 was called, especially during an 8-hour gap, that's some heavy shit.
But
you
wait,
tried-
were you
I didn't-
saying DM was outside.
What's that?
Were you saying DM was outside with them?
Yeah.
Yes, because I know Dylan.
See that? Like, I
Right.
don't understand how they
That
wouldn't.
part is crazy to me.
And
you
if
didn't see
did
Bethany
that, why
anywhere
didn't
around
you
there
reach
either?
back out?
No, I mean, from what I had heard, Bethany wasn't even there that night. She was at a party. She didn't come home until like maybe past 11. She
That's
was
why I said
partying at
that-
a different place.
Mhm.
I don't even think she was there that night.
I mean,
From-
11 the next morning or 11 that night?
Yeah, 11 the next morning. So
Okay.
she was gone through the night.
Right before the 911 call.
Yeah, I don't know what time. I just know like when I woke up at around the 8 and I smoked, I went back to bed. I was hungover. I was really tired. So once I finally woke up, you know, and got around to do everything, and everybody was talking about everything, and all the lights were going, like everything was crazy. And so I had to call for a ride because I couldn't even get down into that area. And so my ride had to go all the way down. And when I walked down, there was all the stuff that was happening, and Snapchat was going crazy. It was like, you know,
So
I
what
would
time
never
were the
guessed.
Snapchats going off in the morning? If
I don't know.
Snapchat
I don't know.
was
I
going
when I
crazy?
woke up, I want to say I woke up after 12:00. I don't know what time they started. You know,
Well, but you seen them at 8:30 in the morning.
well, I actually physically seen them at 8:30 in the morning. I don't know what time like the Snapchats or whatever went off.
Because I'd heard that's around when the Snapchat started
So,
to go off.
What are you a student? If I can ask, are you a student out there too, or?
I was a student. I no longer am after everything that happened.
Oh, okay. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
I was going to be being close to a junior. I had enough credits to where I was very close to being a junior.
Okay, cool. Got you.
I got a little bit backtracked because I had a major I was planning on going into, and then I kind of like changed courses, and then everything that had happened, you know, I couldn't do it anymore. You know, there's so many things that are so hard to comprehend, you know, and one of them is like I said, that morning I would have never guessed that there was murders ever. Like it was like a
Well,
normal morning.
What were the Snapchats saying if you read them when you woke up after?
People were saying that, like, some people saying that there was ODs going on.
Guys, did she mean when she said her student thing and she said she's a little bit older or she sounds older? I know they said that she's using a voice changer. I mean, was she saying like, hey, I used to go to school there, I dropped out, and now she's just been living in town for a couple of years? I don't know. Is that how she meant it? Because I get what people are saying with like the school years aren't tracking. The other thing, we do know that it's not just college kids in that area. We've heard that many times. We have normal working people living there too.
or like the house overdosed, and that was pretty much what it was for the most part, is that people in the house had overdosed and died.
So let me ask you a question real quick. If you were to guess.
Hold on. Listen to what she says here.
What it was for the most part is that people in the house had overdosed and died.
So
now let's just back up before anybody jumps down my throat. Okay. Bethany might not have even been there, whatever it was, right? People have thought that the 911 call, it does come in for an unconscious person. Hunter Johnson says, I checked for a pulse. Well, if somebody was OD'd, that would make a lot more sense than checking for a pulse based on those autopsy reports and what they said their wounds were. How is there not blood on Hunter? How is there not anything on his hands? Right? So think about this. It was rumored people had OD'd. The 911 call comes in for an unconscious person, and Hunter says that they checked for a pulse. Maybe the oddity of Hunter holding a knife, walking in, and Mark, thank you so much for the super chat. Liars don't give this kind of vivid detail. And good, by the way. I agree. That's my opinion. We can have a different opinion. Let me just finish this working thought that I have. So, 911 call comes in for an unconscious person. Dot's not the only person that says that it's been rumored people have OD'd. Hunter says that they checked for a pulse. Based on the autopsy reports, that makes little to no sense. Same thing with nobody else being mentioned in the 911 call. Hunter doesn't have blood on his hands. Hunter's holding a knife. The reactions at the house, they seem off to the overwhelming majority of people. The cops don't come in and clear the house until after the fact. They stroll right in there. Hunter still has a knife and is behind them. To a quadruple homicide, that's a stabbing. Don't gaslight yourself when it comes to the cops would absolutely tell that guy if they pulled up to a homicide scene and there's somebody standing with a knife and there's 4 people stabbed, guarantee cops are guns drawn, drop the weapon. Drop the weapon right now. Okay? Here's where I'm going with that. We all talk about a cover-up. We all talk about the 8-hour delay. We all talk about like the oddities of it, where they're standing around, what sounds fake. Who's to say that entire body cam footage with no ambulance, no EMT going inside? They're asking about chest compressions. Oh my God, there's blood everywhere. You hear none of that. Now, people say the cops just let out this, oh, fuck. What if you see a bunch of young people dead in a room that did dirty drugs? I don't care how experienced you are. When you see that quote saying that they've never seen 20, 30 years, investigators have never seen something that bloody, and then the photos come out, you don't look like that. Amito black poured everywhere and shit, not making sense. I don't know. Somebody came in, somebody shot the party up, whatever it is. Right? Who knows? You can't discredit from what we've heard about the ODing aspect of it. I don't know how everything fits together, but I'm more convinced now that the Linda Lane audio, the 911 call, the rumors of the party being shot up, the gun rack guy, the OD, the whatever, they're obviously going to all culminate together to tell the truth, but I bet that it's something that's a combination of multiple theories that we've said. Almost like progressing events. Did something go terribly wrong? And it doesn't necessarily have to be. So Christina 702 says they didn't do drugs like that though. Okay. like who's to say that something, it doesn't take much if somebody else was using it and they put their hand on it. I mean, if there's dirty drugs in the house, or if that's a party house, I mean, there's toddlers who crawl around on Airbnbs and they get, fentanyl in them. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm just trying to say, what if it's like a culmination of events? Like we hear the fight, then somebody comes back, they shoot up the party. Or I don't know. What if the fight was over some bad drugs? Then somebody comes back, shoots it up. What if there's got to be almost like the two timelines have to be two events that we have to start to determine what are the two events that happened. Not just two timelines. Okay, fine. We can say there's two timelines. But what are those two events for the timelines? Did it go OD, fight, shooting, stabbing? Right? I don't know. But I think it has to have an aspect of something that would hype people up enough to want to go and carry this out. I just don't know what that order is. And then the reason for the delay with the cover-up might be explained for CIs, might be explained for Idaho is trying to buy the University of Phoenix. There's hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, so the campus tries to get the feds involved to do some sort of cover-up. But sometimes I think we're taking this all at too much face value when we should be spinning it. We should be spinning it. They've spun it against us. Yes, Big Amish Media. Use the reasonable person standard to review the actions. Reasonable student would do what? Reasonable LE would do what? Reasonable coroner would do what? It shows how unreliable and negligent the actions are to get a conviction. But also, it shows just how not normal they are for human instincts. Sherlock says, what did all these people do to these four bodies in that small house for 8 hours? I'm going to keep playing this, and I'm going to let my brain keep working. You guys keep sending the comments. I'll keep feeding them on the screen.
Ever. Like, it was like a normal morning.
What were the Snapchats saying if you read them when you woke up after?
People were saying that, like, some people saying that there was ODs going on, or like the house overdosed, and that was pretty much what it was for the most part, is that people in the house had overdosed and died.
So let me ask you a question real quick. If you were to guess, okay, based on what you saw the next morning, what you heard being there, what do you think happened that night? That morning, I should say.
Well, at like 3 a.m., a little bit after 3 a.m., this was before I went to bed. We were supposed to, in the apartment that I was at the party, we were supposed to go on the balcony to smoke. We were not supposed to, like, smoke weed or even cigarettes inside. But some people didn't listen to the people that resided at the apartment. So they would smoke inside anyway. So they would crack like 2 of the windows, like on the right-hand side of the apartment. And when they did crack the windows to get the breeze and to get the smoke out, like there was a lot of stuff that went on it. Like around a little bit after 3, there were a couple of things that I heard that were really disturbing, but I was drunk and I just said, like, in my head, I was like, you know what? It's probably something really stupid and I'm just overanalyzing it, you know? Like, in my head, I didn't think, like, oh, there is something of emergency. When I look back at it now, like, it literally tears me up inside, because I'm like, could I have done more? Could I have, like, did I just bypass something, you know? But it was like it was a scream. There was one scream. It was it literally, like, it sounded like.
Okay, you know what? I've seen so many comments that say, Dot is fake, Dot is this. Let's get Dot's ass in the hive. Okay? Who knows Dot? I'm putting out a request right now. I will have her on at the moment's notice, drop of a hat. Okay? And I would like to talk to Dot myself if she would be willing. No pressure, no gotchas, a conversation. And then I will make my determination. But I'm listening to this right now, and I understand people are saying, everyone knows she's fake, blah, 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 blah. All right, let's just ask her. Let's ask her in here. You know what I mean? That's fine. Let's do it. I would really love to do that. And if Dot hears this, everybody knows I'm not a gotcha type interviewer. Okay, I don't like when that's done to me. I wouldn't do that to them. And I think that let's just do it.
So like somebody was being mauled by a bear. Like it was like.
When you heard
when
that?
did you hear that? When did you hear that?
This was a little bit after 3 a.m. But there's a lot of times that screams go on at parties, like really for weird reasons, and so in my head, I wanted to just tell myself, okay, well, this is a little weird, but even if I thought it was, something maybe to think about, I'm at a party with a bunch of people and we were smoking weed and we were drinking and there were people that were doing illegal drugs. And you know what I mean? Like if I would have called the police, I would have gotten everybody at the party in trouble too. I had like so many things weighing in my head. Like if I had done that, and even if I did, I have to.
Yeah, Dago, let's do that. We were talking about something that we could do together. Let's do this. If you're down, I will move anything around to make that work. That'd be awesome.
Tell an officer, like, hey, I'm drunk, but I heard this scream. Like, is he even going to believe me? Like, I was really backed into a corner. So, but now that I think of it, like, it bothers me because I remember that scream and it was not a normal scream. It was
right.
more.
So do you think the police did their job?
In regards to what?
Well, no, if they didn't call her back.
Well,
no. So they were knocking. The first week that everything like transpired, I know because like my friend who lives at the apartments, he said they knocked on a few doors or whatever, but it was not anything where they were like really in depth, like having conversations with people. They weren't like really actually like trying to like, okay, what happened with this? Like they knocked a couple of times, like, hey, did you see mostly they wanted to know if we seen a specific car in the area, but they didn't care to hear about anything else. It was kind of like, okay, did you see this white car in the area? Like that's really what people said. They weren't really like, hey, did you see it or hear any sounds? Like they really weren't interested.
So, do you remember seeing any of these cops that were in these unmarked cars over by the band field across over there?
No, I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about what happened with that stuff, but I do know that like.
I just didn't know if maybe you saw the cars and saw them questioning people.
What about the car driving up and down all over the place? Did you hear that?
No, honestly, I didn't. No, I didn't. And like nobody that I knew even seen anything like that. Like we didn't, as far as it goes with like Brian, I can tell you that for myself and on behalf of probably half of the people that partied with me, we never knew him. We've never seen him. We never knew anything about him. And when he got charged in it, we were watching, we were stunned because we were not.
Dago, I have an idea. We should do a round table. We should do a round table with Will, Dago, and Dot, and myself. That's what we. All right. Again, mouth was not open that bad, at least that time. But I mean, that would be epic. Thank you, true crime, tiny true crime mama. Yeah, if you would not mind that, I would really appreciate that. You know what I mean? I mean, let's go and because you know that Will, if he feels like Dot might be lying, well, then that shit, he ain't gonna have any problem. Okay, I mean, that could be, and I get it. A lot of people think she's lying. That's fine. That's okay. I don't know if I have an opinion on it. I think there's just some weird shit that she knew. It's not like I also want to make clear, I'm not saying that I'm only doing this because I want it to be true because it pushes some crazy theory. I'm just saying I haven't listened to it that much. So I don't know. I would say right now, I haven't heard anything crazy that's completely like, whoa, okay, that's just a mainstream talking point. That's blah, blah, blah. It's not to say everything might not be perfectly accurate. It's not to say that there haven't been people that debunked her, things like that. Like I said, with Will, people tried to debunk Will because of motocross. That's all I mean. That's all I'm saying. I'd rather just, go and talk to them myself. And Will doesn't have to be up here if he doesn't want to be with that. I'd still love to do it with you, Dago, if you're down. But Tiny True Crime Mama, thank you for being willing to.
Expecting, we literally were like, who is this person? Nobody really knew him,
Yeah. So you said, what time did you say you went to sleep that night, roughly?
It was probably between 3 and 3:30. Maybe a little bit later, but I was in the apartment. The windows were shut. We had the doors locked. And it's like, it's really hard to hear anything after that point. But yeah, we were close to that point. But I remember they were calling for the dog. I don't know if the dog was missing, but I remember there was like, I don't know if it was Ethan, but somebody was whistling. A male was whistling for the dog. They were looking for the dog at like 3 a.m.
Was that before or after you heard the scream that you said you heard?
It was before the scream.
Before. It would have to be, before. And so you heard a male whistling for Murphy.
Yeah, like, if you put like 2 fingers in your mouth and you blow for a whistle.
Were they saying Murphy or just whistling?
They were just whistling, but we knew Murphy because when I would party over there, sometimes Murphy would get out and, and we kind of knew the dog just as like, a neighbor dog. So when we would hear stuff like that, we just presumed that because nobody else really had a dog over there. So we just presumed maybe it couldn't have not been.
I mean, hey, the whistle thing, right? I mean, that's true. Shelly, great point. Pavarotti did say that whistle, the whistle was like communications, how gangs communicate, or bird calls, right? And it was gun rack guy on the lookout. But she said she heard a whistle. I think Pavarotti put that out within the last, it was in the last couple months. Unless he said it before, but I'm saying at least I didn't hear about it with really gun rack guy and all that till more recent.
Murphy, but I just assumed that it was because I know when Ethan was over there and like he would at night when they would let the dog out, he would call for the dog too. So
gotcha. So
it was like the dog was everybody owned the dog in the house. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody.
Yeah, no, I get it.
They were
that's a lot. In a house like that makes sense. So did you knew Dylan per se? You said, like, did she ever talk about her relationship with Kaylee and Maddie and Xana and all them?
Yeah, she said that they all got along really well. There was a couple of times where they kind of they just had they had their own little personal problems because when you live with people that close together and everybody hears and sees everything, and it becomes like a little dramatic because you know everything. You know when somebody goes to the bathroom. You know what their classes are like. You really get to know everything about their life. So, when you live with people.
So Vid brings up a good point. I just want to talk about this. So Vid says she didn't bother to go by the house to see what was going on. No one did. I've lived in college houses. I've lived down in the city. I've lived out in the suburbs at my parents' houses, right? I can tell you if I'm in bed and I'm chilling and I'm watching Netflix and I got my windows cracked and I hear some shit, whatever, maybe I get up and I look, and if I don't see anything, I'm like, huh, and I'll go sit my ass back down. That's if I get up. You know what I'm saying? But especially like in a college town, I don't know if I would get up and start going and doing like a full-on investigation for that. If I just hear whistling or calling for a dog or whatever it is, if I'm all warm in bed and it's November, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going out there to freeze, and get dressed and stuff.
Like that, it's very easy to develop patterns, and I think sometimes they butt heads because Dylan would ask like, hey, you normally come home at.
Well, I agree. Are you talking about at night, Vid? I'm talking about I'm talking about when they're saying they were looking for the dog and doing that, not the next morning. You know what I mean? It's like when the police were there, yeah, people walk over in that. I'm sorry. If you had meant that next morning, I thought you were referring to at nighttime. That's how I took the comment. So
this time, are you okay? And it's like, it's not her business, but she knows how that goes, and then, somebody would feel like, oh, you're infringing on, what I'm doing for the night. So I think other than that, they get along pretty well from what I know.
Yeah. Were you in a sorority too, or no?
No.
Okay. That's probably smart. I don't know anything.
Yeah, I would never get into that because it was so much drama. I'm so glad I never did,
Right.
How long were you friends with him?
I want to say a little under 2 years.
Yeah. Why do you think there's some people blaming her for these crimes?
Well, Dylan was she was mischievous and she had a wild side to her, and she made mistakes, but she also had a serious side that was committed to her education, but she also had a side where she was kind of reckless.
What did she say there?
Dylan was she was mischievous and she had a wild side to her, and she made mistakes, but she also had a serious side that was committed to her education, but she also had a side where she was kind of reckless. She experimented with drugs like we all did, and she always,
we know her background.
Yeah, she always craved attention for men, like guys that were bad, like the bad boys.
Yeah.
She never wanted to be with a guy that wanted to treat her right. She wanted to be with a guy that was a thug.
Bad boy.
Yeah. So when she would get involved in that, she had her little sprees and stuff like that. And, I would try to, kind of say hey, I know you're trying to get with this guy, but just try to just focus on living your life, and she was very obstinate. She didn't always want to listen, but for the most part, she was a pretty decent friend, she was a pretty decent friend.
So, Vid, you're bringing up really good points, right? The next day, there's Snapchats, cop cars, police. No one stepped out to see what was going on. Well, when they're walking around, people answer their door. They all not just in Gunnarson's body cam footage, but all of the body cams that when cops are going around, they're kind of canvassing and they're interviewing people. Has anybody noticed that when the cops knock on the door, everybody that's at the house is at the door with them? So, to me, they're watching through their windows. Obviously, they were either told to not come outside, or maybe, you know what I mean? Or maybe they're waiting for the news. Yeah, as Amy just said it. And Fat Bastard says, Birdie, thanks for letting all of us deep divers go crazy. Yeah, that'll never stop because unfortunately I can't help it myself, fat bastard. I feel bad calling you that, but even in Gunderson's, they're all at the door. They answer immediately like that. They're right there. The knock happens, boom, door opens. So I do wonder, like to Vid's point, yeah, no one's out there looking around. That's odd. But then it's also like it's odd that everybody in the house is there ready for that knock.
She didn't call.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Right away.
She wouldn't call.
Well,
have you spoken with her?
Well, what I can say, I have to be very careful.
And real quick, Ms. Birdie just got home from work. I haven't seen her all day. I'm going to do a 2-minute break because I have to pee too. I'm going to say what's up to her. I'm going to pee. I'll be right back. Please hit that like button while I'm gone. And don't go anywhere. We're going to finish this out, and we're going to dive into some possibilities. BRB.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quench the thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. Don't never stop competing, yeah. I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep them out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah. Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it. Go on and take your aim. Built to last with the webs.
All right. Thank you, Hive. Appreciate you all waiting. You know, also look at these Ollipops. It's delicious. No caffeine either, which, not that I'm super sensitive to caffeine. I feel like I have an addiction to caffeine. But they are delicious. Wow. Oh, damn. You guys went ham on the like button. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. All right. Yeah. Believe it or not, although you guys do see me on stream for, an hour and a half to 2 hours and some change each night, I absolutely do my best to prioritize my wifey. So, all right, here's what I want to talk about. Here's one of the things that I really, really, really appreciate about the Hive is it's almost like it's not arguing with each other about real, fake, whatever it is. It's kind of like even the people that might think it's fake, I don't know. I don't want to speak for anybody, but I kind of got the sense of like people are like, okay, well, let's just listen to it anyways, and I can appreciate that. I think that way. There are some things in my life where I'm like, I don't believe it, but anytime somebody brings it up and they try to convince me otherwise, I will listen. Doesn't mean that I also won't counter, but I will at least listen, and it won't be like a interrupt fest or interruptive, conversation, right? So, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to continue to play this. And yeah, thank you, Nana Cal. The vape thing, it's gone. I can honestly say I don't really think about it at all, which is surprising. But okay. All right, let's get this going, huh?
What I say, but what I can say is there was a story that was presented to her that
she's standing outside at 8:30 in the morning, according to you. So why is she standing outside smoking or hanging out with people?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I have no
911?
idea.
That's what my question.
What was the story that was presented to her?
Right. I don't know what. Well,
do you know what else Dot's story corroborates with potentially? Tinfoil hat. Yes, this is going to piss some NPCs off. So hang out, listen to my theory, grab your salt, and then get out of here. But let me just say this. To this day, I'm convinced if that phone alarm that goes off in the body cam footage is Dylan's, when she's talking to the cop, getting, so you guys, what officer pulls up in that car? Why can I not remember it? Anyways, Dylan's phone alarm potentially goes off. I've said, how weird is it that it's like set for damn near noon when the cops get called, if that's her. So if you're out there smoking in the morning and whatever, you got an alarm set, is it literally like just, Nunes, thank you. Are you just waiting as a reminder? Did you have 2 alarms set? Like, did somebody make you wait to call 911 until this time? You know what I'm saying? Because I've set multiple alarms before, or did you hit snooze instead, or whatever it may be?
Well, one of the things I can say that she said was that all of the rooms, the doors were shut.
Did they all have locks on it?
And they all had locks, keypads, like numbered locks to them. So, with her.
Wait, all of the doors did? Even the bedroom doors had keypads? Even the bedroom doors had keypads?
Well,
one of the things I can say that she said was that all of the rooms, the doors were shut.
Did they all have locks on it?
And they all had locks, keypads, like numbered locks to them. So, with her, she said that by all accounts, that is how she would wake up and see things would be locked.
So you're saying that she wouldn't. So you're saying that DM wouldn't have noticed, because if you look at the statement in the PCA, she's stating that she saw some dude clad in black.
Yeah.
And then you're telling me that when those crimes took
And then she
place,
ran downstairs.
4 hours later, and you're outside hanging out with people like shit didn't even happen, and you don't even know that shit happened.
Right.
That's really odd.
She said that she did not state that about.
No, I'm saying if you're hanging. Oh, she's saying she did not state.
She never made that statement.
Like what she's saying is like when she went through the run through of the night, like she was told.
Okay, so let's talk through this. So Xana's dad had just adjusted Xana's that weekend. Did Xana's door have a keypad on it? And secondly, there is a room downstairs that has a keypad on it. There's a front door at the bottom that has a keypad. Well, keypads don't need changing, but what if she didn't have a keypad on there and he installed one? Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, they're being weird about who was in what room, right? Right? Who was found where? What is that? They're blacking out the rooms, right? Keypad, code pad, same thing. I mean, I've seen those on apartment doors before. Now, is anybody else thinking, okay, so if what they say all of the rooms had keypads on it, and again, nobody jumped down my throat. I'm thinking out loud. I'm thinking, well, we've been lied to about other shit. Okay. Does anybody know where I'm going with this? Okay. Wait. Wait, who's got to leave me alone? Okay. Where I'm going with this, I'll just get to it. I'll spit it out. So, you know how in the body cam footage you hear like, hey, do you guys know the code to that door that's downstairs that's locked? And they go, oh, no. That's a room. Like, we don't have the code to that, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, Dot is saying all the rooms have keypads on it. If Xana's dad did come and put, again, I don't know enough about, like, was it a lock? Did he just change the bolts? Did he put like thicker screws in there for like the deadbolt, right? Who knows? Okay. What I'm saying though is like, what if when Dot says all the rooms had keypads on it, well, did one of the cops like accidentally bring up a room with a keypad downstairs and then Xana's room had a keypad on it? Are they being secretive as to why all the rooms are blacked out? So you have the front door with a keypad, you have the downstairs door with a keypad. Was there other keypads? Okay, so Santa's dad didn't do anything to her door, just the front door. Okay. All right, sorry about that. You know, I know this, but I'm just trying to say if the only door with a keypad was the front door. No, there was a code downstairs with the keypad, I believe, too, that they said was like the landlord's room. Yeah, that'd be great. What is going on with YouTube right now? Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right. Hopefully that's better.
Kind of like, well, maybe that's true. She was drunk and she had smoked weed. And I think she did a little bit of Molly, so she was definitely under the influence. She said that like that morning that she still had the residuals, but when they had talked to her and they kind of were giving her this like kind of thing of like, we know that you've seen this person, or there's this, and like she kind of honestly just like under pressure went
along with her story.
Not necessarily like was like, oh yeah, that's 100% true, but like even when she would say no, I didn't see, they'd say like, oh, but did you see a figure? And she said, well, I did see a figure, and they'd say
so
like,
they gave her a scripted statement and she went along with it.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, they just kept antagonizing her. Yeah.
Hold on. So you're saying, so Dylan told you this?
She said specifically like that they antagonized her, that they had like repeatedly over and over again like pushed something, and she kind of like in her head she said, I almost wanted to believe that maybe what they were saying is true, so she kind
Well,
of
I mean, I'm not saying that it's not, because we've all kind of had our, hold on one second, everybody. Hold on. I'm not saying what you're saying isn't true, okay? Because we've all kind of felt that way in one way or another. What I'm asking you is, you're saying that DM is stating that what she gave in the statement to the PCA isn't 100?
No, it's not. No.
That's what
it was.
Yeah, I'm saying that 100%. That's not like the whole.
Well, that's kind of interesting, isn't it?
The whole thing about seeing somebody with bushy eyebrows and all black. She said that's never anything that she ever volunteered. I have been in contact with Ann Taylor, her team of people, and I gave her my friend gave her the Instagram, the 22 minutes of that night, and I've been in contact with her, and everything that I've expressed right now, I've expressed to Anne. We haven't really divulged on like getting deeper and deeper into it, but I've expressed these things to her, and she wants me to.
Okay, I believe that I've heard enough to give a little bit of a synopsis on this. Here's my question. People are saying she's lying, all this stuff. Okay, people are saying she's inserted herself in the cases in the past. Is there anything that she's saying right now that is hurting the case, or anything differently than what almost everything that we've probably dove into here? If you're going to insert yourself into the case, or if you're going to troll, or if you're doing it for like attention seeking, this seems very like based. It doesn't seem like sensationalized, like Grammy T said. If she was yelling, or if she was lying, why wouldn't she be like sensationalizing it? You know what I'm saying? So it's like people are saying, oh, Dot's fake. Okay, well, Dot's talking on behalf of somebody. Oh, I think Dot's real. Whatever it is. My thing is this, is like, I understand there's people that have motivation to like troll or seek attention, but also she's interjecting herself into this case. I don't know if she's doing harm or if she's doing good to get to the truth. That's what I mean, is like, so people are like, she's lying. Well, has she said or done anything that we haven't also thought was weird? I don't know. It's like very like, I wouldn't, if I'm listening to this for the first time and I didn't know people are going to say Dot is fake, and I want you guys to tell me this too. Genuinely, if you forgot everything you knew about Doc and we had all the documents now, or if you forgot everything about Dot and you now read all the documents, nobody ever said she was fake. Would you think she's lying? Honest question. Would you think she's lying if knowing what we know now, knowing all of the oddities with this, dude, she was saying this a long time ago. And thank you, Tiny True Cry Mama. I mean, yeah, omitted, Big Amish Media says omitted or false information. The PCA is a red flag to challenge in the Frank's hearing. HIP denied the challenge to the PCA summarily without providing a Frank's hearing. Allows cross. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's how I'm trying to. Oh, this is a good data point. Tina says, this is my first time hearing it. I don't think she's lying. If this is your first time hearing it, does anybody think this is like completely absurd? Like, oh no, not Dot. Dot's been proven fake. Dude, Dot, from what I remember, it was like back on TikTok with Brat. Okay, right? Brat Norton. And it was this big drama, wasn't it? And then I was like, oh yeah, I went down this rabbit hole, whatever. Like, dude, we need to go look back at Brat's texts with Steve G. We need to look at all this stuff because that, guys, I remember from TikTok when I would put shit out that was against anything that was in the media already. They came for your ass hard. No holds barred. Profiles reported, threats, all of this stuff. And that was just even back in March. I don't think that anything like either way, Dot could be a fake person. Dot could be talking on behalf of somebody else. I don't think if I didn't know this was Dot and I just like had a blindfold on, first time hearing it, and this person's sitting in front of me, I don't know if I would think this person's lying through their teeth.
But she wants me to actually physically go there to where I was and to show where I was in that time frame and what angle of things that I've seen. And I've been terrified to do so because I'm worried that somebody's going to be filming and they're going to film me and see me. She said we could do it at really late at night.
Yeah, but you can call the LE. You can
call.
Yeah.
What she's saying is she doesn't want to be seen.
Yeah, and I know people say like, well, why would you give this information? And honestly, I've been comfortable giving the information because there's so much speculation. 90% of the people don't believe me. Anyway, even like, and I'm being real when I say this right now, there are so many people that aren't even going to believe me. So that works to my advantage, even though I seen what I seen. There's a lot of people that will discredit me or say, no, you weren't there, this, that, and the other. There's so much more that I do know, and things that have gone on, but it's like telling my side. I get a couple of people that believe me, and there's a lot of people that don't. And I understand.
I'm not saying I don't believe you, because everything can exist until I know it's proven 100 either way. But what I'm saying is if you looked out your window at 8:30 in the morning and you saw 5 people, one of them including DM.
One of the other things too, I hope that this makes sense with what I'm going to say, is everyone says what do you think, you're smarter than the FBI? Oh, let the professionals do it. I'm like, yeah, we're going to. So therefore, I'm not a professional. Therefore, I don't have to abide by this. I would like to fact check it before I put anything out. Hell no. I'm doing this stream because I think it's fun. I like it. I enjoy thinking. I like bouncing theories off of stuff. You're right. Let's let the professionals do all the fact checking. I'm going to dive into anything and everything that I want to and have an opinion on everything and anything that I want to, and theorize and probably string shit together that might not make any sense, but at least I did it. And then talking through it, it's like, well, that's, we can count that out, or, oh, wow, there's credibility there. So it's like, yeah, we will let the professionals do all the boring, factually accrediting of it. It's not to say that I'm out here just going to spew complete bullshit. You guys have been in here when I've gone documents wise. I've corroborated shit that I've said. But for listening to stuff like this, I mean, I like just being in a free kind of flowing state of well, what about that? And the lock, well, that one's the only one with the keypad. And she hasn't really said anything about it. No, or maybe she's not lying. And I don't know. That's the way that my brain works. And so, as everybody's entitled here to think of their own brain, or to think about stuff with how their brain is working. But I just wanted to say that. It's like, I get it. But at the same time, we're socializing all of this info. We're letting people come to their own conclusion. So.
And one of them was D.
Yeah, I was on the balcony, to be specific.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's important right there because hello, like they're standing out there like nothing took place, and this is 4 hours,
yeah. I was out like
three and a half before
yeah.
Ellie's contacted, and then also the statement with the PCA. The PCA is what was used to arrest BK.
Right.
The
That's why
PCA
it's so
was used to do all this stuff, and if you're saying that DM told you what she told you about her statement with the PCA, that puts all of this in question. Everything that took place from the arrest all the way up to today.
Yeah.
It's always been a question.
And also the
You know
fact
what I'm
that I
saying?
don't know if people are aware of the fact that
You got to contact somebody.
there were at least 2 of the people, they were mutilated. I don't know what I can say. I don't know what I'm allowed to say on a YouTube
Well, if you're
channel.
talking, yeah, but if you're talking to Ann,
But I can say that they were. It was not like somebody had a butcher knife or anything like that. Like the wounds were equivalent to something that was much like huge gaping wounds. Not like
maybe like a machete,
a katana,
not a knife going into like I'm talking like if you think about being a hunter and if you think about a deer and all that, if you can go through that process in your head, like it was to that equivalent, if not worse, like gaping wounds. So it's not just like a stabbing situation. It was really like something very sinister.
How do you know that? How do you know that? If I
Well, I know from Dylan. I know from Dylan.
Okay, she told you what they looked like. Okay, I got you.
So
she told me from what Hunter knew. From what Hunter knew. So
have you talked to Hunter? Do you know Hunter Johnson?
I haven't talked to him at all. I never really knew him, but she told me from what on that morning she said that it was.
I don't know. Like you need to contact somebody seriously.
I did. I have reached out to the proper people.
FBI? How about the FBI?
How are they not taking you seriously then?
They're not. They are
this
not.
is some
They're
important
not.
stuff.
I mean, guys, even to the point where she's saying they're not taking her serious. So the pros, the FBI, they're not taking her serious. They're not following up. And I could tell you, if I was an FBI agent that was an honest, like full of integrity FBI agent that didn't already have maybe a pre-selected outcome or knew something was going on at the house, that is very weird to not have been followed up with. But look at a pattern. She's not the only one that wasn't followed up with.
But this
this is a good way to go. This is a good way to put it out there and go public.
Yeah, and I've talked to them.
So
you said you have talked to the FBI too?
I have talked with anybody and everybody that I can talk to that would hear my story, that could do anything for that. I have spoken. I have shown, that I was at the apartment that night. I have shown documentations that I was a student there. I have given proof, and despite doing that, I still don't feel like they have taken me seriously because nothing has happened from that. I mean, they've listened to me, but nobody has looked at other evidence or anything. They're just going with this Brian situation.
Do you think
Hold on
Brian
1
is
second,
involved?
Dago. I got to address something in chat here real quick. Okay, she called Ann Taylor. How is she going to get hurt by us asking her these questions, or by anybody telling her she needs to contact Ellie with the information that she's talking about? What are you talking about, Mystic?
So they're just haters and disinformants and people.
How is anybody going to get hurt?
More people are going to get hurt if she doesn't come out with it.
I was just asking if you thought Brian was responsible, Dot. That's all.
No.
Okay.
Not in any way, shape, or form did I ever think that he was, and I still don't, because I know, like, I was somebody that did drugs like a lot of my friends did, and there was a lot of things with drugs related in the area, and there was a lot of animosity towards a whole different type of stuff that went on with that. So I personally think, my personal opinion, that it had something to do with Kaylee leaving and them not being happy with her leaving, because she still had to continue what they asked her to do in regards to the drug situation. They were very upset that she was going to leave and move away and not be a part of it anymore. That's kind of where I
mean, guys, does that sound like she's lying, or she's trying to be very careful with what she says?
think my personal opinion, that it had something to do with Kaylee leaving and them not being happy with her leaving, because she still had to continue what they asked her to do in regards to the drug situation. They were very upset that she was going to leave and move away and not be a part of it anymore. That's kind of where I think some of it transpired. But that's
so you think she was the target? The initial
I
target?
think they were mad. Yeah, I think they were really mad. They found out she was going to be there that night when she, and they were really mad because she was going to be going away, and she was a part of helping them, and aiding in their efforts. And so she was really moving away was a big thing for them.
So if that makes sense, I guess, if you put it that way. So if she was target per se, why do you think that Maddie, Ethan, and Xana were attacked as well?
I think that, the individuals that did it, because I think it was definitely more than one person, but I think that they didn't want to make it obvious, and by just one person, it would really pinpoint. I think that they had to have other collateral people to make it seem like it was not specifically for Kaylee, but there was a lot of stuff that was.
Dude, holy hell. Listen to this. Again, I haven't listened to this full interview in a long time. Months. Listen to what she says about the other people and why. Okay. And before she does, without making it sound crazy, and again, I'm not saying that like I want this to be true. I'm trying to say there's so many people in here that have said this is fake. Let's think through maybe why it's not. The people who did this, they didn't want it to be obvious, so they had to have other people as collateral. Think about if, like, dude, look at like if somebody gets suicided, or if it's like if you're gonna do a hit on somebody, like don't be standing next to that guy. They're gonna come. You might get hit too. And it's like, whoa, there's 5 people that were killed, but it's really one person's the target. Other people are just collateral. You know what I mean?
I think it was definitely more than one person, but I think that they didn't want to make it obvious, and by just
that's another thing, dude. That is another thing. Smick, top dog comment. That tracks. That tracks. Why is she being careful? Why is she saying all that? Why is she using a voice changer? Shit, maybe she knows who did it. Maybe she knows of the people that did it and knows that there's a lot of people out there still. Maybe. You know what I mean?
one person, it would really make it. It would really pinpoint. I think that they had to have other collateral people to make it seem like it was not specifically for Kaylee, but there was a lot of stuff that was going on with the frat and Jack, and there was drama. There was so many different things it could be a possibility, but none of them that ever came to my mind was Brian ever, because I never had seen him. After all the stuff came out, I remember that Brent Kopaka and them, I thought that I had remembered seeing them together, but never by the house.
Who together? Brent with who?
So when
just Brent and Brian together.
Brent and Brian together. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
But never by the house. But once they had released that information, I thought, I'm like, that looks familiar.
So
but
you've seen Brent and Brian together before?
I thought I did, but I mean, I don't know if it's
when was the last time that you contacted Ellie about the stuff that you've been talking about tonight?
Probably 4 weeks ago, and they pretty much said that they have all the information that they need.
So
you knew this.
So you knew this.
All right, guys. Who is to say? Seriously. Who's to say if she goes, the FBI is not looking up with it, or the FBI is not following up, MPD is not following up. I've been in contact with Ann Taylor. I sent her the video showing proof, giving legitimacy of this Instagram live. Doc, who's to say that you want to talk crazy tinfoil hat? Who's to say that somebody on Ann Taylor's team was like, well, fuck it. If they're not going to look into it, let's leak it. Let's put this out there. Get her a voice changer. Get them a voice changer. Hide their face. Shit, let's actually have somebody else tell the story on behalf of them. I mean, it gets out there. It helps Koberger's case. You have somebody, this is probably the only person that's talking anything outside of the PCA. You know what I mean? Wilder stuff has happened, and it's, I don't know, because she seems a little bit too careful, but yet a little bit too specific. She's not saying a bunch of names other than maybe she's saying names of people that she knows were there that she could get away with saying, like Emma and Demetrius. But she's not saying anybody else's name. And she's saying they, like maybe she knows who the perps potentially were. I don't know. Just a theory.
You knew this when all this shit went down on 11/13 of 22, and you contacted Ellie 4 weeks ago?
No. I contacted them when all this stuff went down. I contacted them a couple weeks after all of it went down. The first
so they didn't contact. Okay, what I'm trying to get to is because you said that they didn't take you seriously, right?
Right.
Okay, so when you first contacted them, that's when they didn't take you seriously. And when you contacted them 4 weeks ago, they didn't take you seriously?
No, when I specifically talked with the individual that said that they were going to relay it to one of the detectives, they said, we appreciate leads and stuff, but that they kind of already had what they needed, and they didn't really need any further information.
I don't know. I'm glad that we just watched that. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've watched that. And either way, whether you think Brian's pure evil, like whether you think what they're doing to Brian's pure evil, whether you think the narrative's pure evil, at the end, there's real evil that exists. The manipulation of the masses via the media, not knowing what's true. Okay. Personally, I'm leaning into this disagreement of is Dot fake or is Dot real? I'm not going to pick one side or the other. Like I said, Tiny True Crime Mama, thank you for emailing me Dot's number. I will be reaching out to her ASAP. Dago would love to do the interview. I think it'd be cool because he had talked to them before. Have him up here. I don't know if Will would even want to be coming on it, but that would be one for the books. And we'll ask the hard questions like, what do you say today? You going to flip-flop on your story? Were you lying? Why did you come out and say that you were lying? Why is everybody saying you're this person? I don't think that those are unreasonable questions. Those aren't gotcha questions. You know, do you feel like now you could say more knowing what we all know? Were you advised to leak this information? Right? So I don't know. I'm keeping an open mind about it. I try to do that with everything. I'm not perfect with it, but that's one where full transparency, I stopped looking at Dot because of how many people would just flood the chat with, oh no, not Dot. Dot's fake. Right? Maybe Dot isn't who Dot is as far as what they're describing, but the information seems plausible. And you can say, oh, it was out there before. I would ask anybody in here. I would ask anybody in here, whatever this was, 2 years ago, could you coherently answer every single question in a conversation flowing that way without sensationalizing it? Remembering the timelines, remembering that specific stuff. Could you? Could you even do it today? Oh, it seems like it's generic rhetoric or whatever else. It's like, okay, maybe. But how many people can hold a conversation like that describing things that they saw at work yesterday? So I'm just saying, I've heard way more obvious of lies. Okay. I've seen way more obvious of lies in the Dateline documentary in the Amazon series. I've read more obvious lies in James Patterson's book. I've heard way more obvious lies than what we just listened to. It's not to say that it's real. Maybe that person's extremely gifted in manipulation. But no matter who they are, what gender they are, whatever it is, voice changer or not, I'm saying the information's wild. So we're going to continue to dive into that. Maybe the next time we can go into WSU Kim again. I think it'd be great to have her on there. If you guys know people, and if you're in other people's chats, please, on behalf of myself, on behalf of you guys, I have no problem with you. If you think somebody would be good on the Hive and you know the type of people that we would want in here, it's not that I won't talk to anybody. They have to be up to speed on the Idaho 4 case. They have to have an open mind. I don't care if they're on the other side of the aisle. I refuse to get trapped and waste anybody's time, including my own, you guys watching, of somebody that's going to come in here and dig their heels on and just start barking back at me. But if there's other people, if there's experts, if there's body language people, if there's other people that cover it that have a good take, please. I get asked that a lot, like, oh, you should have them on, or would you mind if I? No, I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I'd encourage it. So, because I'll go and I'll leave comments in other people's videos too, like, hey, that like unfiltered lucky dude. I think we're going to try to do a live together. Dago, we're going to do one. And it doesn't just have to be people that are, creators. It could be anybody. So, with that said, Hive, I hope you all have a great night. We went a little bit long tonight, but that's because we had to restart the Dot video without the music. I hope everybody sleeps great. And tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m., I will be back in the Hive for the Sting. And then at 9 p.m., I will be doing the late night live dig. Cheers, everyone.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.